Hello guys, and welcome to another in-depth video. Today we are in Syokimau in this exquisite townhouse. So what I want to do in this video is walk you through step by step what we did when we first came into this house, the things we noticed and how we tackled them. So the first thing obviously that you notice about this space as soon as you walk into this gorgeous living room is that it has this section that has these really high walls, very tall windows that go all the way up to the second floor. So that was the main thing that we knew that we had to tackle when we first came in here. So we had a design in mind. We had talked to the client. We knew that they wanted to have gold features and also have some antique features. So having this space looking the way it does, we knew that if we tried to put that gold on those super high walls, it would completely overwhelm the room. So we had to come up with very creative ways to incorporate those elements into this absolutely beautiful living room that I'm in right now. But what did we do? When it came to the first thing, which is the color scheme, we knew we had to keep the tones very muted. On these walls, there's two tones of paint. There's the white and there's a very subtle gray color. You might not be able to pick it up, but if you look at any parts of the wall where, like for example, that center area next to the fireplace, right next to it there's a white, so you can kind of get to see that there is two tones. We kept it very subtle intentionally. That way we were able to really explore the way to play around with those gold elements that you will be able to easily pick up on when you're looking around. So the color scheme went to the seats as well as the floor covering. We've kept it very neutral. Everything really flows into each other without disappearing. Now the best way for us to add in a bit more character and really play around with that gold we thought was through the curtains that would go in these very tall windows. And we found the perfect print when we were selecting the fabric. It is absolutely gorgeous. It is something that's neutral but has gold thread going through it. It's not way too busy, because I can imagine if we had gone for something that was a bit more strikingly gold, it would be too garish for the living room. So that was the perfect balance alongside all the muted tones that we have in this room. Now the next thing you might notice is touches of wooden elements. The most striking part of this living room, apart from those windows, is the floor. For the tiles, we went with something that has a wood effect to really boost that sense of warmth in this space, and also because wooden tiles just tend to look very aesthetically pleasing. And also this is a family home. There's children in this house, so we gave special consideration to that. We can't put real wood on these floors because one, it's very high maintenance, and two, having kids around, it's very easy for them to end up spilling things on the floor. So we want to make the clients work as easy as possible when it comes to cleaning. So that was the thought process behind this tile and the color, just injecting that warmth into a room. So everything is fantastic, and you can tell by keeping everything neutral and really having that strong color on the floor, it also allowed us to add in other smaller elements with that same wooden feel. Like on the seats that I'm sitting on, neutral tone, but you can see all along the edges, we have that wooden feel that you can see on the floor, as well as right over on the fireplace. You can see either side of the fireplace, we have these cabinets. They are functional, but they are in that wooden feel, the same as the fireplace. You know, sometimes in our projects, we like to go with something that will melt into the wall. So we'll just work with molding. But for this space, because we were able to keep everything else very neutral toned, that was the perfect way to make that feature wall stand out by just adding those wooden features and just making something a bit more exciting to look at. Now, that is not the only thing on that wall that's exciting to look at. It is exquisite, but right above it, that high wall, there was no way we could just leave that bland. That was another opportunity that we saw that we could give the client to really display things that they enjoyed. If they felt like they wanted more gold elements, they have the freedom to do that without transforming the room too drastically. It'll be something that they can put up or take down at any point they want. So overall, the transformation of this living room has been amazing. We've created great symmetry, we've created great flow, and it just feels like a space that you want to be in and actually sit in and enjoy. So right next to this beautiful living room, we have this absolutely exquisite dining room where we decided to go all out with the themes that the client had given us. We thought that would be the piece that we're really able to showcase that gold element that they really wanted for their house. So you can see we have a lot of gold accents, but the trick with gold is creating a balance. If you have too much gold, it ends up looking very tacky, and that's the last thing we want. We don't want the client to be coming to their home, they're like, I know I said I want gold, but that is too much gold. So we had to strike a perfect balance, and we were able to do that by making sure that the furniture that was chosen was a balance of white and gold. That is always a very good combination when done well, and I think this is the perfect example of when you do that well. Now, we've also included a hint of black just to create a bit more contrast so that everything doesn't end up looking too flat. Now, apart from the furniture, we've also played around with an area rug. We like to do that because it also introduces that element of warmth that I was talking about, similar to the living room. If you're having tiles all over your floor, and I have to say this particular part of town is known to be a bit colder, so introducing carpets here and there will really go a long way. If you have a household where there's children who might be walking around barefoot. So that was also a very big consideration when it came to choosing where to put area rugs, and we thought underneath the table at the dining was a great area. So the biggest piece that you may notice in the dining room is that wall of mirrors. Now, we love a good broken mirror design, but it's not purely decorative. As beautiful as that is, it's absolutely gorgeous with that geometrical shape. Earlier I was describing it as looking almost jewel-like, and you can see why I would say that. Next to the gold, it just seems like the whole area is very luxurious, but it's very functional. This is not one of those super huge houses that we have worked on before, so we had to come up with a creative way of still making it feel that way. If you're going to fill up a space with, you know, items that look very luxurious, you don't want them to feel like they're also cramped in a very small space. So at the addition of that gorgeous broken mirror design really plays a huge role in making the overall space just make sense together. And the flow of everything, I always emphasize flow in every space is perfect. You can see that we've also carried forward the same curtains just so we don't break the two spaces too much. They've already been defined by the walls from you can see that there's a obvious separation, so we thought it would be a good idea to have that so that we also don't have too many elements going on. The gold from the curtains plays very well with the gold from the seats and all the other decorative features that you can see in the dining room. Now, when it came to lighting, that was also another very special consideration. gold and warm lights tend to play very well together, and that's exactly what we did. But we didn't want it to just have warm lights all over, so we made the recessed lights warm, but with the chandelier, it actually switches up. So you can have it from a very warm tone to something slightly cooler, and then to completely white, so that they're able to really change up the ambience depending on what mood they would want the dining room to feel like. Now, I talked about the lighting in the dining, but that was also the same thought process when it came to the lighting in the sitting room. These high walls called for an absolutely stunning chandelier, and also very warm. So we went with something that played around with crystals and also that gold tone as alongside that warm light, so that everything really felt like it was one. And it was something that the client would pick up on and really appreciate, that we took into great consideration what they wanted for their home instead of just putting that aside and doing what we felt. So overall, when I look around me, nothing feels out of place. It's such a natural movement from the living room into the dining. Nothing feels like too discombobulated. It's not too jarring to the brain. But I love that all the furniture has really been able to define the two spaces as two completely different areas, but still having the house feel like it belongs together. Nothing is too jarring. So from here, I'll take you on up to the family room and we can see how we played around with that room.